The US-Ukraine talks turned into a fierce beam to cancel the press conference. Mr. Trump asked Mr. Zelensky to leave the White House. The meeting in the Oval Room turned into a speech and ended with Mr. Zelensky being asked to leave the White House by Mr. Trump. Loudly at the Oval Room. Initially, the meeting in the Oval Office between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was relatively polite. Zelensky to Washington brought the mission to ensure the US continued to support his campaign to end the pulse with Russia. The disagreements between Trump and Zelensky began to appear when the two answered a series of questions from reporters around whether Russian President Putin was reliable. Trump said he had a special relationship close to Putin, suggesting that their relationship developed in his first term after Russia was accused of interfering with the US election. When Mr. Trump said that President Putin would respect the agreements he achieved related to the war, Zelensky shook his head disagree. By this time, US Vice President J.D. Vance intervened. "I had to answer the reporter's question," Mr. Vance said. "What made America good is the US participating in diplomacy. That is what President Trump is doing." Mr. Zelensky refused, presenting his own experiences when dealing with Mr. Putin. Mr. Trump initially watched the two quarrels back and forth, but he intervened when Zelensky said that the United States would eventually realize the consequences of trusting Russia. He was not in his position to order us to feel something. "We will feel very good, very strong," Trump said. "From the beginning of the war," Zelensky said, and was interrupted by Mr. Trump. "Currently, he is not really in a good position. He let himself fall into a very bad situation. Currently, he did not hold any cards in his hand. With us, he just started to have cards," Trump said. "I didn't play cards," Zelensky said. "He has bet on the lives of millions of people. He has bet on the Third World War," Mr. Trump emphasized. "And what he is doing very disrespectful to this country of the United States," Mr. Trump added. Mr. Zelensky was asked to leave the White House. The conversation turned into a tense and personal debate, taking place in front of a television camera and millions of viewers, surprisingly senior officials in Washington and Kiev, threatening the survival of the US-Ukraine agreement, an agreement that could open the entrance for the process of ending conflict. "I think it was a disrespect when coming to the Oval Room and trying to argue this against American media." Vance was angry before continuing to criticize the Ukrainian leader. "Have you said anything?" Vance asked. "We are grateful," Zelensky responded. At a time, Mr. Zelensky said that Mr. Vance said loudly and said he thought that if he said loudly, but Mr. Trump interrupted, he did not speak loudly. "His country is having great trouble." "I know," Zelensky said. "He did not win," Trump said. "He did not win this. He has a good opportunity to get rid of it, thanks to us." When the stressful situation in the Oval Room took place, Ukrainian Ambassador Oksana Markarova stopped taking notes and rested his head. A White House employee whisper will be big. The meeting ended with Mr. Trump's declaration that Ukraine did not want to receive his help to achieve a ceasefire, and the US president's team asked Zelensky to leave the White House, US and Ukrainian officials said. Kiev protested and wanted to continue discussing, but they were rejected, the White House official revealed to CNN. Zelensky left in a black SUV without signing a mineral agreement. And Mr. Trump declared on social networks that Zelensky was disrespectful to the United States. He could return when he was ready for peace, Mr. Trump posted on Truth Social. This is a rare tension that is publicly opened in the Oval Room, which has been the stage for the interactions closely coordinated between US presidents and world leaders. Earlier on the same day, a meeting between Zelensky and a group of dual-party of the Senate allies ended with words about solidarity and smiling selfies. After about 50 minutes of the meeting, Mr. Trump said, "I thought we were enough," and signaled his press staff to ask the media to leave. When reporters leave the Oval Room, Mr. Trump jokes this will be a great TV show. Abnormal signs. For many days, Mr. Trump confidently affirmed that Mr. Zelensky will sign a rare mineral agreement with the terms that help the US to return billions of dollars that it has supported Kiev. Instead, it ended with a cancelled press conference. After the media left the Oval Room, rumors spread in the crowded press room of the White House that the rest of the agenda with Mr. Zelensky would not take place. The food was prepared for the lunch between the two leaders instead to serve the White House staff, US officials said. When world leaders come to the US to meet the president, they often sit in the Oval Room and exchange comments prepared to the press. They then closed and resolved disagreements. That is what happened this week when Mr. Trump met French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The schedule for February 28 between Mr. Trump and Mr. Zelensky is similar, until it goes down. According to WSJ, From the beginning there was a sign that the meeting on February 28 was not abnormal. A reporter confirmed that he belonged to the Russian state agency TASS, lined up with journalists in the media room, then passed through the White House press staff responsible for checking his name. TASS is not often allowed to participate in the White House limited events. A White House official said that TASS was not on the permitted media list and was later escorted out of the room when the event took place. From the beginning of the meeting, a reporter asked Zelensky why he didn't wear a vest. Zelensky often wears simple military clothes when meeting world leaders as a reminder that his country is in the war. He responded that when his country had no war, he would wear a beautiful suit, which could be more beautiful than the blue suit that the reporter was wearing. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, sitting on a sofa in the room, frowned away when Vance laughed about that question. Thank you for watching Kwok Bin New TV channel. Please like, comment, follow, subscribe to the channel to receive the latest information.